Those three balls are literally on top of each other. They've just done exactly the same thing. That's super impressive. I'm making a bag swap. What clubs should be at the top of your golf bag? It can be really easy to get fitted for some new irons, maybe even a driver and a 3-wood. But what goes in the gap in the middle? Today I'm going to test in 3 different options from Callaway to help you see the differences in ball flight, spin, and just how they perform from different lies and scenarios to help you pick what should be going in the top of your golf bag. First up, let's start with the hybrid. This is probably typically the club I have used the most in that gap filling spot in my bag throughout history. And I think really initially that was kind of an accident. It was just something I'd got given, tried, liked, and then ended up using quite a lot through the years. So I've got the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke HL in this, just because the 21 loft was kind of quite a good gap to match in with the other clubs that I've got to test here. There's a few reasons I really like a hybrid. I think they're very versatile, so they're quite easy to hit off the tee, off the fairway, but also if you get into the rough, they're a little bit smaller than say a fairway was, so sometimes you can get down into kind of those lies that aren't very nice and get the ball out quite well. Now, obviously I'm on the tee at the moment. We're going to hit all 3 clubs from here, see what the differences are in terms of kind of launch, height, trajectory, then move down into some different lies and see how they perform there. This hybrid looks super good behind the ball. I like how compact and round it is, but they're really sharp, like straight face lines. Now, one thing you can find with hybrids is they do go quite high, so sometimes it's an issue in the wind. It's quite windy here today, so we're definitely going to be testing that out. It's actually stayed pretty straight though. Really nice strike, really nice high ball flight. I think that's a key for a lot of people. If you struggle with getting height, getting more hybrids in the top of your bag setup is really going to help. I mean, so many people now, I think their longest iron really should be a 7-iron, and those 6, 5, 4, you should really be looking at replacing with a hybrid because they're so much easier to launch, get really good height on, you're going to get more hang time and carry because of that, and they're going to land steeper, so you can actually get the ball to stop on the green rather than just running through, which kind of happens at this time of year as the greens are getting firmer. What I like about this is it's actually really consistent despite it being windy, despite it having quite a high loft. It's launched in a really nice place, but it's consistent and it's kind of, yes, it is moving a little bit in the wind, but not more than 5 and 10 yards, which I think is pretty impressive in this much of a crosswind. Now, another thing I really like about hybrids is you get more spin than you would get with a long iron. Now, lots of people can struggle to generate enough spin, which means they can't always control the ball around the green. So with this, I'm looking between high 3s, low 4,000s of spin, which is really going to give me a good amount of control. God, these are really nice. I'm making a bag swap. So if we take a little look at the numbers here, in terms of carry distance, that's averaged out 181.5. Probably could get a little bit more out of it if it wasn't so windy, but I don't think that's bad in terms of distance for like 21 degrees of loft. The spins averaged out 4,100. The launch angle was 15.2, but then that was paired with a land angle of 41.1, which is going to give me pretty good stopping power paired with that amount of spin. The height got up to 80.8 speed on average, which is pretty good. And my dispersion was just really consistent. Let's see what happens in the other clubs in the comparison. While you're here, I would really appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button. Over 75% of people who watch this channel aren't subscribed, and it really helps us in terms of what content we can go and create in the future. So I would really appreciate it. And if you could hit that like button while you're there, or even drop us a comment and let us know if there's any other videos you'd like to see on the channel. Right, back to the video. Okay, 7-wood time. Again, we've got this in the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke range. This is the Max D model, so it might be a little bit draw bias. But I picked this because it's also 21 degrees of loft, so it's going to be kind of a direct loft comparison compared to that hybrid. And we're really just going to see the differences in kind of ball flight compared to just what the other head tech is and the difference in the head shape. And this is going to be really interesting because I used to love carrying a 7-wood when I was younger, but then I just got out of the habit of using it. And obviously we've got a bigger head, so in theory we could be getting more forgiveness here, a little bit more weight in the bottom of the sole. But really interesting to see kind of how this compares to the hybrid and what kind of pros and cons there are between the two. Looks great behind the ball, this as well too. I like the fact it's really shallow, because for me I think that just helps you feel like you can hit it off more lies. Oh, definitely gone higher. That's definitely gone higher. Interesting. If you're someone who needs to hit it higher, Maybe you just need a 7-wood. You could go 7-wood, 9-wood. I mean, Michelle Wee at one point had a 7-wood, a 9-wood, and an 11-wood in her bag, and she's like an LPGA Tour major winner. So if she can do it, any of us should be taking that advice. If you play a lot on links courses, maybe I wouldn't advise this club because it is literally moonballing. But if you play on parkland, places where you've got to hit up to raise greens, you need the ball to stop, or if you're just someone who struggles to get that extra height, this is really going to help. And interestingly, it's still spinning really well up in that mid 4000s, which I really like. And actually this dispersion is so super tight, even better than the hybrid, which is probably not what I expected. And again, the ball flight's really consistent. This is getting up to nearly 100 feet of height, which is really good in terms of that. Those 3 balls are literally on top of each other. They've just done exactly the same thing. That's super impressive. God, I could be changing my whole bag setup. Okay, so if we look at the averages again, that was 1 yard longer, 182.2. Although I'd say the distance was a little bit more consistent. My shortest shot was 2 yards longer than my shortest shot with the hybrid. I mean, the dispersion was just insane. Obviously, in terms of height, it went higher, 16 feet higher on average, which is a lot. And we kind of saw that in the land angle as well. That got to 45. That's like a really good number. It's perfect for just getting the right amount of control when the ball's landed on the green. So if you're someone who has to hit long clubs into the green a lot and you need more stopping power, I would definitely be looking at this club. I was super impressed with how consistent that was. Like, I thought given how high it was kind of lose control, but I think there was enough balance of like ball speed and spin to kind of keep it in the right place. So that's got kind of 300 RPM more spin, 16 feet more height, and 5 degrees more land angle, which is just going to give you more control to stop the ball. Now, obviously, there's going to be some of you thinking, I don't want to hit it high, I already hit it really high, I need another option. So don't worry, we've got a utility iron to look at now. Right, last up, driving iron. I would say of this 3, this is generally the one that's a bit harder to hit. It can typically be seen as something maybe just for people with faster club head speeds, but I don't think that's always true. I think it does suit people who maybe hit down on the golf ball a lot more, compress the ball a bit more, because you can get more consistent strike with this, whereas some of the other options might be better if you're a bit shallow and you like to sweep the ball. I have to say, this looks so good. I've not hit this yet, so I'm super excited to see how this performs. Now, again, this is pretty similar. We've got 20 degrees of loft, which is as close as we could get to match the other 2. This does have a slightly heavier shaft too, so we might see differences because of that. What's quite nice about this is it looks really nice and compact behind the ball, but it does have a bit of like width to the sole, so it doesn't feel too scary to hit. Start line definitely wasn't as good on that. It felt like I had to strike it a lot better to hit it in the right place, and it was distinctly clear how much lower that flew. So if you're someone who plays links golf and wants something that goes flat, runs out, you definitely need to be looking more in this kind of iron category. Carried 172 though, which isn't dreadful for like how poor the strike was. It's kind of only 5 yards shorter than my worst hybrid. Oh, that was really nice. When you get it, that's a seriously powerful ball fly. That's gone. Especially in the wind, that's gone a lot better and kind of run out more than I would have seen with the other clubs. I felt like I absolutely ripped that though, and it's only carried 178, which is nowhere near the like longer woods I hit, even though they were going up in the air in the wind. So if we look at the averages there, it's noticeable that dispersion was suddenly a lot bigger and the ball flight changed loads. So the spins dropped down to 3,200, which is like 1,000 less than we've seen with the other options. The heights dropped down to 54 feet. That's nearly half what we saw with the 7-wood, which is pretty crazy. The carries 175, my best got up to 178, and that land angle's dropped down to 31. So I remember when I said about 45 being really optimal for control. 31 is going to be great if you're playing like firm and fast courses. You want to hit this off the tee. You want something that you can start straight and just let it run out. It's not going to be great if you're trying to fly this onto a green and try and get it to stop, because that paired with like the lower spin is just not really going to give you enough control. So I think you can see from this like just how much like the ball flight can change through changing the type of golf club. If you're someone who maybe has always carried long irons and just thought that was the typical way to play golf, and you maybe struggle with height, You see how maybe changing options here would help you control the ball more, get better hang time, and also get more carry distance probably. But also if you're someone who thinks, oh, I've got a 7 wood, I really struggle in the wind, what should I be using? Using some of this kind of utility iron is really going to help out. Let's go hit a few for some different lies and see what the versatility is like, and if there's one club that maybe would be more versatile for different like rounds, different courses, different lies. Okay, this was going about 175 average before. We've got 180 to the front of the green. I think I'm going to struggle to stop this out the rough. It's going to also be interesting to see how that kind of spin number changes. It's come out of the rough a lot nicer than I might have expected though. It is running a lot and it's up there. Well, actually, it stopped pretty much just past pin high. Somehow I got more spin on that than I did off the tee. Someone might explain that to me. 4,300 spin. Maybe it's the fact I did have it teed up. Generally, if you do tee the ball up, you do lose a little bit of spin. So actually, maybe hitting it off the ground is a bit better. Tell you what, that's actually stopping a lot quicker than I'd expect it to. But it kind of shows you the difference in terms of like kind of the total difference there versus just the carry off the tee and the run out, because I'm getting that all the way back to the pin. So it's really running out nice. It's kind of nice you can just land it at the front and let it slowly release out to the back of the green. 4,500 spin on that. So again, a little bit more spin. Carry is down a bit out of the rough. It's not quite as easy to strike it as clean. What shot was 168 and that was my longest carry so far. Surprised me actually. It's been a lot more versatile than I expected. It felt a lot easier to strike out the rough, which I wasn't sure if it would or not. That one's dropped down to 3.3 again in terms of spin, but actually the spin was a little bit more. The height on that was 40 feet. So if you're someone who plays at a course where the front of the greens are quite open like this, you can run the ball in. This is definitely a club that will suit those scenarios. I don't think I would have been as happy if I had to kind of fly over a bunker and then stop it quite quickly. Okay, 7 wood. This could be interesting because I guess in my mind I would think that this might not be that easy to hit out of the rough. Obviously we've got more variability in lie. It's a bigger club head. How easy will it be to strike? I've kind of just been proved wrong by the driving iron though, so maybe that'll happen again. This is a really shallow model, so it does feel more like it could be easier to hit than some. I struck it lovely, but it was a very big pull. Not quite seeing how that reacted on the green because it definitely missed it. Oh, that's so nice. That ball fly is literally unreal. Can't believe it's still going so high out of that kind of sat down lie. The spins dropped up massively though. 1,800 spin. Wow. Not have expected that. You kind of get away with it though because you've got the height. There's less than we saw off the tee, so dropped down to 71 feet, which is really interesting. Tell you what, although the ball flight is nice and high, the spin rate's still not that high. That was 2.2, which was better than kind of the 1,800 mark. And obviously the ball is coming out a lot higher, but the land angle's not loads steeper than it was with the utility iron. I wouldn't say it's stopping excessively quicker. It definitely did go further. It was definitely easier to strike. That last wasn't quite as good in terms of contact, but I did get one that carried out at 190 compared to 168 was the best with the iron. It's definitely something there in terms of the ease of strike and the ability to generate distance from different lies. The iron on average was carrying 160 there for a total of 180, and the wood was 170 for a total of 199. So it actually still was getting nearly 30 yards of run, which was actually more than the utility iron. Obviously there was more ball speed, more distance, so I guess in theory you would expect maybe a bit more total difference, but I would have expected kind of the height to get the ball to stop quicker than it did. Right, let's see if we see any difference with the hybrid. This would be the one I would expect to be the best from this scenario. So let's see if I'm right about that all. Oh, that was so nice. Dead straight of the pin, nice high ball flight. Looks like it's bounced less. Looks like it's really gone in the hole, not gonna lie. Much better spin there, 4,800, which is really interesting. 166 carry, so not excessively different to the other ones, but 178 total, so definitely not as much run out, and that was 78 height. So again, really nice high ball flight. That's almost identical, although I pushed it a tiny bit. You can't perfect every time. 5,000 spin there. That's really good. 168 carry, 179 total. 85 height, even better. Oh no, I blocked it. It's safe though. I would definitely say that was easily the most consistent of the bunch there. I mean, the consistency of the distance there was mental. Like, there's barely 5 yards from front to back, which is really good. Now, I think some of this goes to show you they should just be thinking a little bit more about the top of the bag setup, because actually you could go somewhere for a fit in and maybe hit off a mat or off the fairway and find something that works really well for you, but will it work in all different scenarios on the golf course? So definitely think about how the ball flight's going to change. If you kind of fit into something and you think, oh, that's just kind of on the border of being me hitting it high enough, maybe you should be going into something else, because when you bring it into the rough or different lies, it's not always going to fly perfectly like it does off that mat or fairway scenario. I was kind of really bowled away by the 7-wood off the tee, and I still really like the performance of that, but actually it's kind of sticking to like my theory that I am best with a hybrid, because it's what I've been most consistent with really in different scenarios here. And for me, I know I hit it in the rough a lot, so I need a little bit of that versatility. Overall, I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer to what you put and play at the top of your bag. And obviously it's going to be very personal based on your swing, what kind of course you play at and what you prefer. I think like the real message here is just to test different options out and actually think about where you're going to be playing, what ball flight you might need, if you need more or less spin, and what you're really trying to achieve with those clubs. Are they things you're purely going to hit off the tee, or are they stuff you want to control the ball with into the green? I think if you think about those things and answer those questions, it should kind of become clear to you which option is going to be the best. Also, if you know you're someone that struggles maybe out of the rough, maybe you can see that there were some clubs that were definitely more consistent there, like the hybrid, and maybe think about putting them in play. For me though, I think I'm going to be sticking with the hybrid. Let me know what you think your option is going to be, or if there's anything else you want to see us testing.